So it seems like there's never a dull moment these days. Some people that have been following the channel for some time know what happened with us during the border conflicts here. But also, you may not know, my sister lives in Dubai, and she was pretty much in the epicenter of what was going on. She actually sent me some videos through of what her and her friends were experienced there as well, which is actually quite worrying. I had some good advice for her considering what we had been through, and she got to a safe location. Now she seems okay. A lot of you would have seen this on social media by now, but there were some direct hits and there were also some interceptions in the sky. But it is that chaos in the Middle East that is also impacting us in rural Thailand, and I was quite surprised, to be honest. This morning I went to fill up the car with petrol at Ban Chak petrol station, the one I always go to, quite close to us here, and I was met with one of the staff stopping me and saying we're empty of diesel. There was an announcement made by the Thai government that they had around 60 days of oil on hand, and so they were implementing some emergency measures. I ended up going to another petrol station, and what I noticed was more queues than usual, but what I really noticed was there was people that were filling up the tanks in the back of the car. You know, they had all these drums and barrels and things like that they're filling up. A lot of them, I think, because they want to avoid the price increases that you might see in the coming weeks or months if there's a shortage. They basically don't want to pay a higher price or can't afford to pay a higher price, so they're stocking up now in case that happens. Obviously they've had some experience with this before. A lot of the people that I saw queuing there, they seemed like mechanics, or perhaps they were working in some form of deliveries, and so they wanted to make sure they had the petrol on hand. Personally, although I keep petrol on hand for my generator and for the lawnmower and things like that, I'd never really stocked diesel and never really thought that I would need to. But because I saw this behaviour at the pump, I decided to go to Global House. I went down there and bought some jerry cans there for 20 litres. My car actually has an 80 litre tank, so obviously 4 20 litre cans would fill my tank up once. My plan is to keep the tank full and hold these jerry cans full of diesel on the side. I also picked up a fire extinguisher as well. We do have some on site, but I needed an extra one, an ABC, for this particular zone of the farm. The farm is obviously divided up into sections, and you don't want to be kind of caught short last minute for the sake of a 900 baht fire extinguisher, hunting around for one. So keeping one on hand. I went back to the petrol station. I noticed there was even more trucks that were filling up with petrol there, and I had a little chat with the member of staff there just here. You can listen to our conversation. คิดว่าจะหมดวันนี้ไหม
น่าจะหมดแค่เกือบหมด
แล้วพรุ่งนี้จะมีอีกไหมหรือไม่มี
พรุ่งนี้จะมีมาอีกไหมอันนี้ก็ยังไม่แน่ใจยังไม่แน่ใจใช่ถ้ามันหมดก็ปิด
ใช่ไหมมันไม่มีงานใช่ไหม
ใช่ครับ
อะไรจะหมดก่อนน้ำมันเก่าหนึ่งหรือดีเซลปีเจ็ดหรือ
น่าจะดีเซลมากกว่าครับ
ดีเซลมันหมดก่อนใช่ไหม
ดีเซลเพราะว่าลูกค้าใช้กันเยอะ
So as you can see, he actually thought they're going to be completely empty, a little bit like Bang Chak, which was just down the road, by the end of the evening. And if people keep filling up tanks this way, I imagine so. I expect that the rural areas are going to run out first as they prioritize the cities. In case they did that, I now have backup diesel. That's enough to fill the tank, which would get around 880 kilometers, 900 kilometers, something like that. And so I'll just be sticking the car into eco mode and not taking any unnecessary trips right now. And every time I do go out and I pass a petrol station that hasn't got big queues, I'll stop in and have the tank filled up. I think that's all I can really do. I did also look at an IBC tank, which can fit 1,000 litres, and some of them come fuel rated. This one, you can actually have a pump attached to it, and then you could keep 1,000 litres of fuel on site. Right now, what we're doing right now, I just think it's overkill. I don't want to stock that much fuel on site here unless, things got really crazy. I think I'm going to be all right with this protocol, this plan that I've got in place. And of course, on top of the oil situation, you also have a lot of people that are stranded here in Thailand now. I've got 2 friends in particular that were supposed to be flying home through Dubai and are now unable to get flights. Our friends have had to actually come back, and they plan to do a visa run over to Laos to extend their stay. To be honest, I think they're kind of happy about it in a weird way. They are missing out on home and work, but it's not a bad place to be stranded in Thailand. However, I'm sure there's a lot of people that are not thinking that way if they're joining these queues at the airport trying to get back to work or get back home. Apparently the airport is complete chaos. There are queues, there are hold-ups, and just thank your lucky stars that you're not traveling right now to and from Thailand, if that is the case. So just before we continue with today's video, I would like to mention our partners, Surfshark VPN. I know that many of my subscribers have already downloaded and use Surfshark VPN daily, but for those that haven't, I'd like to fill you in on some of the features and benefits. You may not be aware, but sometimes prices for flights, accommodation and car rentals can be different subject to where you're actually searching from. Surfshark VPN allows you to change your location in the top right hand corner and make sure that you're not being subject to price discrimination based on your location, and also allowing you to get the best price available on the internet. If you do travel a lot like I do and you connect to many different Wi-Fis at different hotels, restaurants and airports, Surfshark VPN has a built-in alert system that can let you know if that Wi-Fi has been compromised, and so keep you safe while browsing on Wi-Fis that usually you're not connecting to. As many of my UK subscribers know, there is a number of draconian laws that have come into place recently that really are a violation on people's freedom of speech and restrict certain content. Many of those UK subscribers are now using my link and Surfshark VPN to circumvent those restrictions and are basically using the internet as normal. Surfshark give me an offer to give to you. It's going to get you 4 months extra. You can simply use my code word BAMBOO at checkout, download the app, or go to www.surfshark.com/bamboo, and that's a money back guarantee. So if it doesn't work out for you for whatever reason, you get your money back. And it has also made me think about, now that we're on the solar here and I'm actually producing surplus energy, the batteries are being charged before 12 in the day. For example, in the peak of the day, I might be getting 12,000 watts from the panels that are charging the batteries. But when the battery's full, and say I'm using 2,000 watts in the house at a given time, then the solar panels will end up reducing their production in order to just match what the house is using. So if that is 2,000 watts, it will just generate 2,000 watts, which means that I have quite a lot of potential there, which is kind of going to waste. Now, when I add a mum's house onto the solar, which I'm going to do, that will help maximize that usage. But also I have been considering buying a Tesla next. I'm going to wait for the full self-driving. So once that has been confirmed that it's going to be in Thailand, who knows how long it'll be, I will get a Tesla and I will charge that Tesla from the solar. And then we should never have a problem with kind of wasted production. The inverter, I've got a 14 kilowatt inverter that can handle a Tesla quite comfortably. Of course, you wouldn't charge it at night. You wouldn't put the strain on your battery. You would charge it through the day. But it would only really be used for taking the kids to school. I could also add another string of 8 panels. I currently have 24 panels, and another string could hypothetically increase the production of power and help charge that Tesla. So that is in the back of my mind. Also, then you're not subject to any petrol costs every month for that particular vehicle, and hypothetically I think it would make sense to do. So we'll be looking at that down the line. For those that have been following this channel, not only have we had the Cambodian conflict, but we also had the banking issues. We've also, we've gone through quite a few chaotic months this month. Some may remember also it was not more than a couple of weeks ago where we had a bit of a fire scare where the sugarcane set on fire just behind us. This meant that we've had to take a little bit of a look at where all the dry wood is, and we were advised to get rid of the giant bamboo tree just behind our place, and so that's what we've done. This has actually been taken out over the course of a couple of weeks. This helped remove some danger of some dry debris, but also it meant that our panels there at the back are going to get even more sunlight into the later evening, say 5:30, 6 p.m. The sun can now hit those panels and help us generate a little bit more. It won't add a significant amount, but it will generate a little bit more power from there. We are going to be planting some fruit trees at the back here as well to replace the bamboo. It has been a massive job. To have the whole tree removed, it actually costs 7,000 baht, but we get to keep the bamboo and we can use that for whatever we need to use it for. We do have another large one at the back which we will be keeping, but alas, this one did need to go, and we think we made the right decision in getting rid of it. I'm not sure also how that's going to affect electricity prices, whether in the long term, if there is a long-term issue with fuel and oil prices, if that ends up putting the electricity prices up, in which case the solar would have been an even better idea, because I think, long term, the solar equipment that I bought, the batteries can last up to 20 years. They're actually rated for 20 years. The inverter can last for 10 to 12, let's say, and the panels can last for 30 years. I'm sure in that time span that electricity prices may rise. I'm going to be doing a separate vlog when we get our first bill, our first full month bill, to see how much we've actually saved, and then I'm going to help break down the profitability of the system. There were some people that mentioned that the system is not profitable. I'm pretty confident that for us it will be profitable, but for sure, if your electricity bill is usually like 500 baht or something like that, you're not running what we're running. We're running a business here. I detail all the electronics we're using in the vlog that's coming up. So it is a lot in comparison to a lot of people. It probably wouldn't be cost effective for you to do solar if your bill is so low, but our bill was quite high, and I think that it's going to be a win-win, not only for saving money, but for situations like this where we don't want to be on the grid. Also, I've noticed that there are more rains at the moment and a couple of storms. We have had a power cut locally. It was strange having a power cut in the area and yet us still being running, still being able to have your lights on, your air cons on, your hot showers. That is, for me personally, I'm just a person that likes this kind of thing, so not everybody will understand it. But for me personally, that was like worth the investment just for that, because to know that your power is never going to go down, it means I can continue to work. Damo can continue to pack for our business. My son can play robot game, Ask Robot. The fridges stay on. Our food doesn't defrost. The rooms stay cool. For me personally, that is it's a good feeling. And so that is the update from us. Obviously, I got to get this stuff out pretty fast to update everybody, because it's an ongoing situation, and I doubt that Thailand's going to be the only place affected by this. Of course, I think it's going to be a worldwide issue, especially if things get worse before they get better. So I hope you're all well.